Did you consider releasing the footage on like social media and stuff, even if you couldn't put it in the actual TV show? Or are we just never going to see this footage?
No, Adam, you are never going to see this footage. You know why? Because this footage does not exist. There is no such FaceTime video call between the fake Luce Cannon and Big U. And in this video here, I will show you how that FaceTime video never existed, and I will be able to prove how the people pushing this narrative, people pushing the existence of this video, Whack 100, Sharice Mills, and the fake Luce Cannon, have been lying to you all along, only to promote their mediocre reality TV show and to drag Big U's name through the mud. See, Whack 100 has been on an anti-Big U campaign for the last several years, and he's still butthurt about whatever Big U did to him a few years back. But you got to understand, when you're dealing with gangsters, gangster things will happen. And you don't run to the internet and cry about spilled milk. So, are you one of those persons that has been waiting since February of 2024 for the fake Luce Cannon to drop that FaceTime video between him and Big U that he claimed he recorded on March 31st, 2019, on the same day Nipsey Hussle was killed by Eric Holder? Well, I'm going to show you how that FaceTime video never existed, and I'm going to provide you with enough ammunition to take Whack 100 up on that $100,000 bet.
Interview where his name came up. Let's be real.
Okay, but you realize that some very, very serious allegations were made during that interview.
So what?
And a lot of them don't really seem to stand up.
Luke, how you know? You a white boy.
I've seen a lot of evidence to the contrary.
You seen what? What you see?
I
tell you what, Adam, you're a wealthy man. I'll front the 100. You put up 100,000. I have Luce pull up. If he ain't got what he say he got, I'll pay you 100. If he do, you give me 100.
I'm not really trying to be the guy who decides exactly what happened or didn't happen.
Stop trying to discredit something that you can't. But what we can do, hold on, Adam. I'll front the 100 for Luce. If he ain't got it, I'll lose that. If he got what he say he got, you pay. We got a bet?
No, I'm not getting involved with that.
Then let's leave it alone and keep moving.
Okay.
Now, did you hear the manipulation tactics that Whack 100 used against Adam 22? First, Adam's whiteness prevents him from identifying regular evidence and people lying. Isn't that ridiculous? But then he challenges Adam 22 to an outrageous bet of 100,000 that ends the conversation on the topic, because Whack has nothing of substance to offer this conversation, to say about this FaceTime video. And for the record, this entire video here is specifically aimed at discrediting everything they've said about pushing the existence of this video. Now this guy, this fake Luce Cannon guy from Fontana, made these weird and outrageous accusations and claims on this No Jumper interview that aired in January of 2024. I believe it would have been episode 23, but that video has since been removed off the platform. He claimed that he was going to air the Big U FaceTime video during the airing of his reality TV show in February of 2024.
And then it's like we were doing a TV show like a while back, right? And I'm on a phone. He FaceTimed me. So he FaceTimed me and stuff like that. He was like, Nipsey just got killed. I'm like, sick. So I didn't hear that. So I hang up with him. I called Nipsey and I'm like, Nipsey, what's up? He was like, oh, what's up with it?
Nipsey answered.
Nipsey answered. He answered the phone. And I was like, I love you, cuz, or whatever like that.
Did you tell him the call you just got? Or you didn't even mention it?
I didn't mention it. And that's what fucked me up, because my cousin is Nipsey baby mama. You get what I'm saying? So it was like, I could have probably stopped it, or it had it.
Stop what? What you mean? That you talking about?
No, because listen. So after I talked to Nipsey and I was like, yeah, I love you, cuz, or whatever like that. I'll see you later or whatever. So I hung up the phone. I thought Big U gave wrong information. 30 minutes later, the homies blowing me up like they just killed Nipsey. And so I'm like,
Wait. You get a call from Big U telling you Nipsey just got killed.
Yeah.
You panic, call Nip. Nip answer the phone.
Yeah. And
you
we
like
were just talking on regular. So it's like at the end of the day, I didn't even think about it because
you don't even warn him that you got that call from dude.
No, because their relationship was so fucked up. It'd be like they be hot one minute, then they be cold the next minute, and then they be lukewarm. Like you
and
just
30
never
minutes after you get out the phone with Nip, he get killed.
Yeah, I got it.
So you think he hit you a little too early?
Yep, he hit me a little bit too early.
Well, let me start off by saying that Wack calling Luce Cannon nephew, where there's only a 5-year age difference between the two, is bizarre. Wack was born in 1977, and the fake Luce Cannon, real name is Termain Williams, was born in 1982. So it's basically a 42-year-old man and a 47, is it a 47-year-old man and a 42-year-old man, calling themselves uncle and nephew. All right, but let's get into this clip. Let's dissect this clip and deal with the facts. Now, the fake Luce Cannon said he was doing a reality TV show at the time Big U called him on this FaceTime on the day Nipsey got shot. Well, we never got to see this FaceTime video, but he did introduce this screenshot, which is supposed to represent the video. And if you look at the screenshot, you can see the fake Luce Cannon is in his car. He is not on the set of any TV show. But maybe that's just a minor point, because you know how sometimes it's too noisy on the set, it's too noisy where you're at. Let me go inside the car, take this call where it's quiet. But do you put the seatbelt on? Look at this dude sitting in the car with the seatbelt on. And then secondly, he said that he called Nipsey Hussle 30 minutes before he was killed. But let's tap in with an interview that he gave 2.5 years ago, back in February of 2022, where he said Nipsey Hussle called him on that same day.
More into producing and stuff. And then when I figured out, like right before Nip died, he was like, you got a voice. You need to take over and finish what I'm doing. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, cuz?
Nip told you that?
Yeah, so it was like 30 minutes before he died.
Well, how did he tell you? Through a text or what happened?
No, phone call. He called me.
Wow, why do you think Nip would have said something like that?
I don't know. I just figured that he knew he was gonna die.
So he called you and said you need to finish off where he left off?
Yeah, he was like, nobody's like you, cuz these niggas is jealous. They envious of you. I love what you're doing. I love you, little bro. And then 30 minutes later, he died.
Okay. So what's going on here? Well, let me just say that in this video here that I am assembling, you're going to learn the following facts. You're going to learn that the fake Luce Cannon, Termain Williams, never, ever, ever spoke to Nipsey Hussle on that day he was shot and killed, March 31st, 2019. Bro didn't even have his phone number, and they weren't in any sort of communication.
The person from rolling 60s, not that he was the first by far, but from our generation, the person that got the most notoriety from being from the block and starting businesses and being an entrepreneur was Neighborhood Nip the Great, Keyway Christ, rest in peace to the homie.
Mm-hmm.
Your brother had his name in his mouth real loosely on No Jumper.
Uh-huh.
And he claimed to have received a phone call that was forewarning of his death by 30 minutes, and it came from a certain individual.
Mm-hmm.
I personally happen to know at that time in Nipsey's life, your brother couldn't get in touch with him because he was trying to get in touch with him through me on some with negative energy. So therefore, I didn't patch it in. I didn't even let Nipsey know that was reaching out because your brother was like, "You better holler at me." Woo, woo, woo. Mm-hmm. I'm like, "Yeah, all right," and never passed the message on.
Secondly, on that day, the fake Luce Cannon, Termain Williams, was at home with his wife, Gigi, in Corona, and that's where they received the phone call.
Now, you were with Termain on the day that Nipsey Hussle got shot, March 31st, 2019.
Yes.
Where were you guys at on that day?
2980 Garrettson Avenue, Corona, California, in the bed, laying down.
And when
We were preparing for we were having a pool party at our house that we were staying at currently during that time.
And do you know if he was in communications with Nip at that time?
No, Nip had never been around us. We had never been around Nipsey Hussle. So who we did know was his baby's mother. That's who we known during that time. But he's never, and like I said, I can only speak for 2018 till now. He has never had any type of relationship with Nipsey Hussle. Never had his phone number. He's never been around us. We never been around him. He's never went to the studio with him. He didn't do any music with him at all during that time. I was there when he did the first interview with the lie that he said about Nip calling him. That I just found out about this Big U thing thrown in, but that wasn't the original story. The original story was, Nip called me 30 minutes before he died, and he told me, I think his exact words, Nip told him, continue what I'm doing, be great, because people are just jealous of you. I think that was.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody knows Nipsey, I don't think that he would. I don't even know how that sounds like him. That sounds real weird in itself. I mean, let's be serious. Nobody's ever heard of this guy, but Nip told him, continue my legacy because you're great and people are jealous of you.
And let me just add this, that Gigi is still this guy's wife. They're estranged. Gigi lives in a whole nother state. Bro lives in Las Vegas with Sharice Mills, but they never finalized their divorce. So technically, he is still married to Gigi, and the girl Sharice she's just, I don't know, a girlfriend, a mistress. She's with a married man. That's a fact. But I digress, and let me get back to the third fact you're going to learn in this video is that it was Termain's twin brother Jermaine that called him up and let him know that Nipsey Hussle was shot. The homies didn't call him.
Now, do you remember where you were at on March 31st, 2019 when you first heard that Nip got shot?
Yeah, I was at my house. I heard about it like right real time, and then I called my brother about it like, hey, check this out. This is what was, said. And Gigi was right there, and she could vouch for everything I'm saying. They was laying in bed.
So you called Gigi up after you heard that?
No,
Nip got shot.
I called my brother. Oh. Him and Gigi, they was together.
Okay.
So they was laying in bed when I told them what happened.
Okay. And were they living in Corona at the time?
Yeah, they was living in Corona.
All right.
So back to this infamous interview on No Jumper, which lasted over an hour and was so outrageous that Adam22 eventually had to remove this video, but only after he was served a cease and desist from Big U. Let me just add that that's the only cease and desist that Big U ever issued, because you're going to hear about this other fake cease and desist that was sent to the network and that was sent to Luce Cannon about this FaceTime video. Big U never sent that cease and desist.
So everybody knows I got a cease and desist about the Luce Cannon interview that I did with Whack 100, and a cease and desist showed up from the one and only. Never thought my life would go in this direction. Never thought I would be getting a legal notice from the big man himself.
Oh,
Big
yeah, I just seen
you.
Big U said he ain't feeling that
Big
shit.
Lucifer.
Big Lucifer.
Is that a diss? I think that's a whack term. I don't want to say that. But I get the cease and desist. And so at first, I'm taking it as a joke. I'm thinking, this is stupid. I'm a member of the press. I can interview whoever I want. Whoever I interview can say whatever the fuck they want. And I'm just thinking, it's not a big deal. I'm protected as a member of the media, etc. I send it to my legal team. They basically said that as far as these kind of cases go, where on one end you have libel, where you're basically smearing somebody's name and like putting accusations on them that could damage their business, etc. And then on the other side, you have free speech.
Yeah.
They said They think that there's a significant chance that if I went to court about this, I could prevail, but it could potentially be a lengthy legal battle, and that from their legal perspective, when you have free speech over here and libel over here, or defamation or whatever word I'm attempting to use, our case is a little bit closer to the defamation side. So from our perspective, we have decided to back away from this. This is not a narrative that I was really interested in pushing in the first place. The idea that Big U had any sort of, criminal doings in his adult life, or that, that he was involved with anything with Nipsey. This is not something I ever really bought in on. It was kind of a surprise to me that it got trotted out on the podcast. I don't have to make this kind of statement about why we decided to remove it or whatever. But, I did ultimately make the decision to take it down.
Eventually, Adam 22 had to remove that video. But after everyone in the social media community learned that Luce Cannon was a liar, learned that he couldn't be trusted, saw that Adam had to take the video down, why did people continue to interview this guy? For example, he goes on Cam Capone. Not once, but twice. And pretty much told 85% lies. Then he found himself on Drinks with Jinx, where he did the same thing. And then surprisingly, this really shocked me, Adam 22 invited him back on No Jumper for another interview of lies.
You ended up getting it, and that caused you to not be able to release the footage. But did you consider releasing the footage on like social media and stuff, even if you couldn't put it in the actual TV show? Or are we just never going to see this footage?
So what I was going to tell you is, let's do like a poly test on the next interview.
Okay.
Me and you, a poly guy, and you got asked a question.
So I don't know, when do we get to a point in our journalism where we identify certain people that are just bad for the culture because of the blatant and fraudulent actions of these people? When do we just say enough is enough? But all right, let's get back to the original interview that he gave. I want to believe that at some point in this interview that Adam realizes this guy is lying. In fact, he says it on the following episode that he didn't quite believe many of the claims that he was stating in that interview.
Okay, but you realize that some very, very serious allegations were made during that interview.
So what?
And a lot of them don't really seem to stand up.
But nevertheless, Adam still posted that video. Adam still put it on his channel. And it just shows that we're at a point in time where we do not care what people say. We're just trying to run up our channels, run up our views, try to maximize our profits, regardless of who it slanders, who it defames, and what type of damage it does to individuals and families. That's where we're at right now. But what this video did, it allowed Luce Cannon to basically say that Big U was responsible for a homicide, or had a role in it, or had prior knowledge to it, when this homicide has already been adjudicated. It has already went through the entire justice system from beginning to end. We had a full trial, and bro was found guilty alone. Eric Holder is the sole assailant in this case. Period. There are no other conspirators. In the last 5 years since Nipsey been killed, not one single person has been identified by the police or by the public with proof and evidence of having prior knowledge or involvement in the homicide of Nipsey Hussle. Not a single soul. Not Cowboy, not Rimpaw, not Cousin Lathan, cousin Carrie, not Big U. Who else? Not any of the people that are in the parking lot. I've even heard that Kid Flashy, aka Mr. Baedga, that was getting a haircut in the barbershop, he was involved in some kind of way. Someone in the car wash was involved. There are no other assailants or participants involved. The LAPD made an examination into all of Eric Holder's telephone records. They did the same thing for Bernita Nicholson. In fact, they searched Bernita Nicholson's apartment. They searched her mother's apartment. They took her car. They even dumped everything off her phone. And they found nothing. Eric Holder's defense conceded that he was the only assailant. Nowhere in the defense were they trying to say that there was additional information linking other suspects. And defense attorneys will do that if there's an opening for that. And then the last thing that this interview does is it makes a claim that a video exists between Big U and Luce Cannon where it's supposed to link him to having prior knowledge. And I think it was pretty obvious that this dude was lying when he said it. And his reason for not posting the video on his TV show is because he received a cease and desist. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? There was no cease and desist from Big U. Wack, Luce Cannon, and whoever is working in their camp actually hired this attorney and paid her to create a real fake cease and desist to make it seem like it was coming from Eugene Henley. And all it takes is a phone call to call a lawyer, say, hey, I want to cease and desist. How much is it going to cost me? So what we ended up doing is we followed up with this attorney, and also a complaint was filed against this attorney as well. So this attorney has no link to Big U whatsoever. In fact, he filed a complaint with the California State Bar saying his name got dragged into a cease and desist that he has nothing to do with.
Now, they tried to produce some paperwork last week that,
Oh my God.
that Big U wrote a cease and desist letter to the reality show company and to your brother Termain. And Big U immediately debunked it. He said, I have nothing to do with that letter. But they're, running around the internet producing all of this stuff. And it's really looking goofy.
The reason why they did that is so when people tune into their reality TV show, they can sit there and say, oh, the reason why we couldn't show this is because he sent this and we don't want to get sued, or the network don't want to get sued. All that is made up. That's fabricated. That makes no sense.
So I think that's confirmation that your brother has no video of FaceTime and Big U before Nip got killed.
So here's what happened, ladies and gentlemen. They knew they didn't have a video from the jump. The only way to get out of not producing the video is to claim that there's a legal issue coming from Big U. And they concocted and created the whole legal issue. Can you imagine that? Like, Wack really paid however much it cost to pay for an attorney to do a cease and desist. He was willing to pay that because he has this much animosity towards this man. But here's the lawyer's information. Anyone can reach out to this attorney. Anyone who's interested in finding out more information, hey, just call the attorney, email the attorney, see if the attorney will talk to you. But I'm telling you right now that there is no link between this attorney and Big U. They created that cease and desist because they knew there was no video. I want to take a closer look at this screen capture. But before I move to that, I just want to bring up this other interesting fact, is that in 2019, Big U's phone was an Android. And the technology did not exist where you can FaceTime between an iPhone and a Samsung. So keep that in mind. And everyone who knows Big U, including Wack 100, knows that he has a Samsung Android phone. Because when you text him, his texts always show up green.
Big U didn't even have an iPhone back then.
That's what I was trying to tell people, because I've been texting back and forth with Big U for
His
years.
shit always been green.
It's always green.
Always been green.
That means he's got an Android.
He never even had a fucking iPhone. It makes no sense.
This is the last conversation me and Nip had. You got to get in close. You see the date on there? See what that say? Tuesday, March 28th. This me and him talking. This me talking about DJ Khaled. I told him DJ Khaled had gave me his number, right? And I said I need to talk to Khaled. So Nip said, at the video, did you talk to him? You see what he said? I ain't got to read it. He said, did you talk to him? But I was doing an interview too. And I said, yeah. And I sent him a call, cuz back after the meeting. Nip said, off top, let me know once he balances it.
So look, it's obvious.
Now you see the date on there, right?
March 28th.
Now how was me and him having a conflict?
So it's obvious.
If me and him talking, but then look, let me show you though. Not only that, let me show you why Nip took off the remember when he had that Grammy Award thing? Look what I told him right here. I said, we was talking about, I said, I just left he just said he just left. He said he on the way to wherever that shit is. Love about to finally get some sleep. I'm telling him, I said, Love, I'm about to finally get some sleep. And it said, I'll call you in the AM. This me. I'm in green.
But hey, let's take a look at this screen capture. Now, right off the bat, this screen capture that's supposed to be a FaceTime call between two iPhones, there should be a couple of red flags. One is that, here, let me just show you what a real FaceTime is supposed to look like. Here's a real FaceTime. Take a look at that. You notice the smaller image is a little bit more offset from the edge. And also, if you take a closer look at the smaller image, it has curved corners, not sharp corners. Now, these videos were both created in 2019, the way FaceTime would have looked in 2019 if you were on iOS 12 or iOS 13, which were the common operating systems in 2019. And if you go back to this image that he created, you don't see any curved corners on the smaller image with Mr. Termain Williams in it. You don't see at least a 1/16 of an inch offset between the edge of the big U image and the edge of the smaller image. There should be a little space there. There is no space whatsoever. It is flush to the corner. And also, if you notice, there's a little bit more vertical nature of the image. You look at the big U image of this quote-unquote FaceTime, it's got more, it's closer to a square than having that rectangular look the way a FaceTime is supposed to look. But let's go deeper into this image. Where was this image taken? Well, check this out. If you zoom in on the building right to the behind Big U's face there, to the left side of his face, and if you're from Los Angeles, you will see that that is the corner of 60th and West Boulevard. Let me show you another image taken by Big U on that same exact corner on 60th and West Boulevard. And then let me show you some other images of this apartment building that you see behind Big U, which was on 60th and West Boulevard. You might wonder, what was Big U doing on the corner of 60th and West Boulevard? And thanks to an old video that I found on WorldStar, here is another image.
That's right.
Of Big U on that exact same corner.
Don't matter. You're nice, go hard.
Movie production in the hood. That's how we do it, you know, man.
Top flight, baby.
GB running this here movie set in the hood.
Come on out here.
Coming out here and checking in with GB, getting these movies done. You better know it. You know what I mean? Anytime you want to do movies in the hood, just check it in. We can make sure it's done. Movies, videos. But if you don't, check it in.
Oh well. Just gonna check your ass out.
And as you can see, this is Big U on the corner of 60th and West Boulevard. And you can see that same apartment building in the background. So you might ask, well, what's going on here, Alex? Well, check this out. In 2017, the television show Insecure was shooting an episode right there on West Boulevard. And what usually happens when these shows are shot in certain neighborhoods, they hire people from the community to work on the set. And this was, I believe, a 3-day shoot of Insecure doing a scene on West Boulevard. In fact, here's a short clip of that episode back in, this was season 2, episode 5 in 2017. And there's a scene here where Issa is driving through the neighborhood, and she's on West Boulevard and 60th at a red light. She gets into a car accident, and they shoot a whole scene of Insecure right there on 60th and West Boulevard. Now, this is how you know this guy Luce Cannon is a liar. Because this screenshot that he is trying to sell you as a 2019 FaceTime phone call, the screenshot was actually taken in 2017, 2 years before Nipsey Hussle was shot and killed. So that's how we know for a fact that this image has nothing to do with 2019. It has nothing to do with a FaceTime call that he had with Big U. And what this lets you know is this dude is saving and downloading Big U's Instagram lives for future uses. What this actually tells us and shows us is that Luce Cannon was saving the lives of Big U when he went on Instagram to use for whatever purpose. And this image that he's showing you is supposed to be from a 2019 FaceTime call with him, is actually from 2017 when he was on the set of Insecure. And lastly, the reason why I know about this is actually on the set of Insecure is because one of my very close friends, Clee Sloan Bone, is the one that hires the people that live in the community where they're shooting these scenes to come on set. So basically, my boy, Clee Sloan Bone, hired Big U and his circle to be on the set during the shooting of Insecure back in 2017. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we know for a fact that that screen capture has nothing to do with a Nipsey Hussle telephone call that Luce Cannon had with Big U in 2019. So I'm stamping a big fat false on it. Thanks for tapping in with Street TV.